What's up, everyone? What are these two nicknames? Buttrock and cockrock. What is it? There are millions of people out there that like bands like Whitesnake, Dio, and Warrant, widely known as glam rock. This moniker, cockrock, stuck. Now, fast forward 20 years, and after all the makeup melted off, bands like Creed, Nickleback, Stained made every sad divorced dad at Applebee's even sadder. Some people confuse the two genres together. Do you? Well, let's set the story straight and compare buttrock versus cockrock here on Real Brave Live. So we've got these two genres that we're doing a butt rock versus cock rock comparison here. Yeah, we should probably bring in people that know more than I do about any of this. I've got John Sullivan. He's an LA-based screenwriter and producer. He's written films for Sony Pictures. So thanks, John, for joining us today.
Oh, I'm happy to be here.
And we're also joined by Mike DeProspo. Mike, self-acclaimed not interesting person, but butt rock enthusiast. And by the way, John is a cock rock enthusiast, I would say. But Mike, I have nothing interesting to say about you, as you requested.
You have a Bob Ross tattoo. That's interesting.
No, it's on the back of my arm right here.
Okay, take your shirt off.
Take your shirt off.
Take your shirt off. Oh, look at that!
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's
so cool.
If you had to pick one ultimate band, one that you despise, and one that you absolutely love, what would they be from those two genres? And anybody?
But I never got fully into Scorpions. I never got fully into Tora Tora. Just wasn't down. I mean, Scorpions early stuff maybe, but as far as butt rock goes, I couldn't find anything to like about I guess Stained.
Here, what are the defining characteristics and the thematic elements that you would see maybe in the videos, or like what did they wear in both genres? And anybody can take that question.
I'm just going to say I feel like butt rock is constantly asking the question of whether or not you're in your own prison. And that's pretty much if you can define that. If the answer is yes, then it's butt rock.
Yeah.
Am I in my own prison? Yes, it's butt rock.
So I think, and if I were to answer this question, the thematic elements for anything in the 80s, it was all about women, right? Yep. And trying to find something on the woman.
Right.
And
the clitoris.
The clitoris.
Whereas they found it through the years. I know, we've gone through a genesis, this whole thing.
When I started on this show, we couldn't say hell. Okay? And now
we were on Facebook, and Mark Zuckerberg was sitting there with his glasses at lizard eyes.
Yeah. Right.
And watching everything like...
Yeah. That's what
I'm gonna have to go with no on that. I am not a lizard.
So we can't do anything. But now we're on YouTube. There's plenty of older gentlemen and one woman. Anyway,
we're doing an X-tube after this episode, I think.
So the genesis goes through the 90s. Everybody's angry, right? We're very angry. You're looking at the floor. We get shoegazers, and we get to the late 90s where now we're just angry that our dad was not home.
Yeah.
Or mommy.
Right.
Yeah.
Because even a Creed song comes on, there's a certain I still like it. Ironically, I'm like, you know what? It's terrible, but I don't hate it.
Yeah.
But Stained, I could never get into.
There's something about Creed, like melodically, that just it's like he's not a. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know how to say this without sounding like I like
Nickelback's really bad.
I can't. Yeah, that I have a hard time with.
Yeah,
but
I can't believe I forgot about them. I could no.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, they're like the kings and queens of butt rock, I would say. But like when they start singing those songs, that one of those Creed songs comes on, like I could see why people like it. It's got a tremendous chorus.
I was going to say, Creed has good choruses.
Yeah.
There's always that sort of that rising up to the chorus. Which a lot of real melodic rock does. Just sort of that lift at the chorus. Yeah. Kevin's showing us right now what that sounds like.
Oh yeah. Yep, I'm not singing it.
Yeah.
Come on.
So let's touch the cock rock.
Let's touch upon the cock rock
for a minute, John. The reason why I wanted you on here is because of the just endless amount of information you have about 80s bands.
Melodic rock, melodic hard rock is
Melodic
what the
hard
community
cock rock.
likes to call it. It's less offensive.
Yeah.
We don't like hair metal either. They feel it's reductive, but
Yeah, I mean, it's not certainly something that I think people would appreciate being said over and over on a podcast.
Cock rock?
no.
Cock rock.
Cock rock. What about
Cock rock.
Have we considered cock rock?
Is there a difference between hard rock and cock rock, and is there a hard cock rock?
Hard rock is what people in those bands call themselves. I don't think many, let's say, cock rock bands go on, well, I play cock rock. So I think they say, yeah, I'm in a melodic hard rock band. Or Sunset Strip metal, is another one. Sleaze metal is another genre. It's almost a subgenre. Sleaze metal is more like Crue and LA Guns and Guns N' Roses.
Yeah.
Although Guns N' Roses has kind of elevated themselves after that first album to become more of like this epic, sort of the Who kind of band with more elaborate progressive song structures and stuff. But really, sleaze metal that would be sort of like the dirty, grimy Sunset Strip stuff, like LA Guns and Crew. And Faster Pussycat, that's a good example of sleaze metal.
Yeah, we'll get into some of those options. Let's bring this over to Mike, to Prospo. I beg to differ. You're an interesting guy. Used to work for Real Brave and is now an ice cream man. You have a Mr. Softy truck now, right?
I do have a Mr. Softy truck. Yeah, it's parked in the back of my apartment.
Can you play that music? Nope. We're going to talk about butt rock now. Famously, you are a huge fan of rock and butts. So talk to me about butt rock and why you like or follow this genre.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm an avid enthusiast. I like to say that my music taste spans all genres, and I will throw butt rock in there as sort of higher up on the list. With bands we know like Creed, Shinedown is another big what's fallen into that butt rock category. Puddle of Mud is a
yes, that hurts my
a good one to categorize in there. It's basically, think about it like this: it's the late 90s and you're at a fraternity party and someone says, "Hey man, put on some rock music." That will 9.5 out of 10 times be what's categorized as butt rock.
Yeah.
As somebody who started college in the fall of 2000, I can confirm that statement.
Oh.
A lot of Nickleback.
You can also think about it this way: you're a divorced dad in the early 2000s, depressed at an Applebee's in a. What's the music that's going through your head?
Yeah.
Is that butt rock music?
Is that Stained too? Is that butt rock?
Stained is absolutely butt
All
rock.
right, because
100%.
that's what I think of. You're at an Applebee's, you're drinking one of those really tall IPAs, and you had a really crappy steak.
Right.
That might be grade F.
You're watching the Bruins just get owned on the screen.
And then afterwards,
you Kevin, with the sports analogies.
and then afterwards, you go outside and find a family walking by, and you want to fight the other dad just for no apparent reason.
You're trying to think about the last time you had some fun, but it's been a while.
Sure.
Yeah.
I know that song. I hate that song. Okay. I'd like to discuss the musicianship a little bit. I think that's an important thing that this broadcast should start doing at some point. But in an entertaining way, Kevin. Do you know entertaining?
No.
Can you read? Can you read, Kevin?
Not really.
Okay.
But it's important, I think, to draw the distinction. Are we talking about apples and oranges here, or are we talking about oranges and proto-oranges, where, cock rock was the progenitor of butt rock?
Okay.
I don't know about that. I don't know if there's necessarily
Or had
a
the
straight
tree
line.
already split?
Yeah, I would say that butt rock comes from a less.
Because grunge was a reaction to metal and heavy metal.
Yeah, I would say that cock rock is a showier, flashier, more virtuoso-based musical form, whereas butt rock, I think, is an extension of grunge, which was bringing it back down to a simpler, more sort of primal feel. But I would say that whereas grunge was a lot about bringing it down to get away from the excess, I don't think that the same sort of ethic was there for butt rock. To me, butt rock was not about simplifying things. It was about sort of taking grunge a step further.
I see.
Yeah. Mike, do you
For
agree with
sure,
that butt rock description?
Definitely. There's like a hierarchy to it. Not like a hierarchy, but like a tier to it, where we start with the hair metal, the melodic, like Poison and Crew and all them. Then it trails into, I feel like the response to that was more like thrash metal first. Like bands like Pantera. And then when like Metallica released the Black Album, that was kind of, for me, the hard pivot off of that 80s glam. Like if you look at Pantera, they started out as
Panther.
as well. They had
Yeah.
this one album called Pantera's Metal Magic,
Yeah.
which was like, that's like the real, you see influences of like Queensryche and a lot of Crew stuff in there. And then when the 90s shifted, they released Cowboy from Hell, and that was the turn that they made into like thrash metal, the faster, harder, heavier type stuff, heavier vocals.
Which is so ironic. And no, you're 100% right. We did a YouTube short on this recently, and they were really big into Def Leppard in the beginning. Really huge influences, right? John, do you know anything about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Dime was super into Def Leppard. Those early Pantera albums, it was a combination of glam metal and some Judas Priest worship too.
Big Kiss
different.
influence in that too. Big Kiss influence.
Yeah. Yeah. They had a completely different vocalist too. For Phil didn't come on until that second independent album, but that first album was a singer named Terry Glaze, who was a much more hair metal-y vocalist, and later went on to a hair metal band called Lord Tracy, which didn't go anywhere. But yeah, Pantera was heavily influenced by Priest and Def Leppard, and then Cowboys from Hell was like a switch. It still had elements of that. There's still elements of Cowboys from Hell that sound like Skid Row. So if take Skid Row, Slave to the Grind, and look at Cowboys from Hell, there you can see the relationship there. And those bands toured together too in the beginning of their careers. Ironically, Slave to the Grind was heavily influenced by Pantera. So when Skid Row made that shift to a heavier style of music, it was because of Pantera. But Pantera was also following that Skid Row sort of arc where they were becoming like a tougher metal band.
Good breakdown of the Pantera, because like that people when they look at Pantera, they're like, oh, that's like the heaviest heavy band of all time, and then you go back in time, they're like, well, their roots are different.
They used to wear spandex and like do the big hair and the flashy wristbands, and they were that. Yeah,
unbelievable.
Are they like not? They were a cock rock band, but now they're not cock rock.
No, they're metal.
Right. But with the spandex, I mean, I feel like
Zero
that's
spandex.
the hallmark of cock rock.
Yeah, just those first couple albums before Cowboys from Hell, I think, could be put in the cock rock category for sure.
Dick and balls.
Then they did the transition into the thrash, and then grunge kind of was on a different side of the country and followed suit in that, where it was the not really heavy but more bare bones rock. And then as grunge died out is when butt rock started to really emerge. That's like the mid to late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
grunge walked so that butt rock could fly. I think about the song Cherry Pie.
Thanks for changing the subject. I appreciate that.
And I think about like just the sound of it, the quality of the sound, the nature, the characteristics of the instruments, and the closest thing I could draw in my head is I love rock and roll. Help me out.
Joan Jett.
Yeah.
By Joan Jett.
She didn't even write that song.
No, she didn't.
They are very similar though in like tempo, dynamics. Yeah, it's got that sound. Would we call Joan Jett cock rock?
She's cockless rock.
So, but I mean, like we're not describing a sound. We're describing a attitude and aura.
I think there is a sound associated with cock rock, though. I think you might just think of it as '80s rock production, but like that gated reverb, really really high gain distortion on the guitar, the sort of overblown lyrics, vocals way out front. Like those are all, I think, hallmarks of that.
I have a question.
John, do you agree with that? By the way, as the expert
Yeah.
here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I have a question though. Forget anything else. You know the heavy metal pedal by Boss?
Yeah.
Did
Yep.
anybody ever use that on those recordings? You think
The Metal Zone.
Metal Zone? Yeah, that's what it was. It had like Mike. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, and the only name that I can really think of, it's not even. I don't even call him cockrock. If you look at him, he screams cockrock, but I wouldn't call him a cockrock musician. Is Dave Navarro from Jane's Addiction? He is a walking advertisement for the Boss Metal Zone pedal.
Is he really? It's got such a
He is.
crap sound. It's like one of the
Yeah,
worst
well, you know.
sounding pedals.
You know,
It's not great.
No, it's not.
it's not great.
No, it's beyond bad.
I'll take 2 Tube Screamers over a Boss Metal Zone.
So let's move to the defining characteristics of each genre. They're very different. I would say I have my own opinion, but Mike, let's turn to you. The defining characteristics of the Creed / Nickleback / 7 Days of Grace / Puddle of Shit. What is it?
7 days of grace.
Puddle of Mud.
I believe it's
Puddle of
3.
mud.
Yeah.
3 days grace.
3 days grace. 7
Dane.
dust.
7. Oh, I can. Well, I really like 7 dust. I don't even know if I could lump them in, but they're definitely
They're
butt
butt rock
rocket.
adjacent.
Yeah,
Is that a thing?
They're hip rock.
butt rock adjacent for sure.
Inner thigh rock.
What are these characteristics as far as like the sound and or the personas? I was watching a bunch of videos, got very sad watching them. Go ahead.
Yeah.
You tell us.
So for butt rock, you think about musician wise, there are these these guitar players. For anyone who's a guitar player out there, are very heavy in drop D tuning.
What do you mean by that, Mike?
Yeah, what is that? What you tell us a
So-
little bit about the drop D?
So I didn't have this guitar here at first. I just pulled it out of nowhere.
Are you sure about that?
Wow.
That's so
100%.
impressive.
Not prepared.
Are you calling me a liar?
Sure am.
Yes.
So on a standard 6-string guitar, your lowest string is E. You can play chords, E major chords, and such. To get a fuller, sort of heavier sound, what you do is you take the lowest string and you tune it down to the next note down, which is D.
Gives you like a very tough sounding chord.
Which gives you this really low, gritty, like low sort of sound. It doesn't sound like it because I'm on acoustic guitar, but very
I'll help you
low
out.
sound.
Like that
There, that's the real meaty sort of. And a lot of these songs were written around this because it was the simplest way to make a guitar heavier, to pump up these frat dude bros so they can all fist fight each other, or like a divorced dad at Applebee's
Right.
who just gets really pumped up because the music he hears has these really heavy, not compressed drums, this drop D tuning, and this singing style that was very. It wasn't incredibly high like glam rock was or like cock rock was.
It's a lot of
It was
R.
sort of
a lot
a lot
R
of-
sound.
a lot of lazy. We call it lazy singing.
Oh.
When you say
Where-
we, what do you mean by we?
The butt rock community.
The butt
The
rock
butt rock community, the music community, the musicians community.
The butt community.
Pickle in mouth, the pickle in mouth technique. That's what it
Yeah.
was. You're singing like you have a pickle in your mouth.
Interesting.
Like there's peanut butter stuck to the roof of
Yeah.
your mouth, like that.
It's very peanut butter. Yeah.
Where
yeah.
in comparison to 80s hair metal and cock rock and stuff, where all these singers were they had these wild ranges and their
Crazy.
pronunciation of words was so clean.
Jared Leto's band.
Oh,
30
uh,
seconds to
seconds,
Mars.
yeah.
So he doesn't
Oh,
sing like
I-
that.
No, he doesn't. And he's kind of at the I wouldn't really even consider 30 Seconds to Mars butt rock.
Well,
I
there's
would
they-
actually say they are maybe the closest combination of these two things put together.
Interesting.
Yeah,
They are
'cause-
maybe the closest to a nexus point we have between cock and
Whoa,
butt.
there's a
Cock and butt rock.
but then also
Oh shit.
The taint? Are they taint,
Taint
rock?
rock.
the paint rock.
And it's subgenre gooch
for all
rock.
you ladies out there that are watching this program.
Yeah.
That second
One of
album
the,
they
it's that's
put
one of
out.
the first albums I ever remember physically buying myself as a young teenager.
One of my first was Human Clay, and I'm not ashamed to say that. I'm not embarrassed. by
It's
it.
perfectly fine.
It's fine.
But-
One of your favorite bands, John, Danger,
I love Danger Danger.
is a notorious hair metal band.
Okay.
I will not.
Danger Danger fan
There
right
it is.
there.
There, look at that right there, right on your right next to you.
Yeah, I have a couple of CDs ready to show.
John got married 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
7 years ago.
7 years ago, and lo and behold, he had one of the singers from Danger Danger at his wedding.
Wow.
Wow.
Oh, awesome.
Paul Lane is a terrific singer, and he's still doing very well. Are you still following him?
Oh yeah. Paul and I talk every so often. He's super busy. He's doing a lot of music for commercials and stuff. He's got a whole other side career with that he's doing well with. But he still records music with some of the guys from Danger Danger as a band called The Defiance, and it's pretty much old school Danger Danger style rock with a little modern twist. But he's a great guy, crazy good voice, great songwriter, and I was really lucky that he came to the wedding and sang. So it was really neat. But I've always loved Danger Danger. Both versions of that band are very good. There's the Ted Poley version, which is closer to Warrant, early Warrant, and then the Paul Lane version, which is a little more closer to like Van Hagar. But both versions of the band are great.
What's the big song from Danger Danger? Can I swing from your breasts? Something like that.
Oh, Naughty Naughty.
Naughty
That's
Naughty.
there.
Okay.
Are all of their things just the same word twice?
Like
Danger
double
Danger,
repetition
Naughty,
for the
like,
same word.
Is their
They've got
first
two
album?
Cheeseburger,
two
cheeseburger.
off that first album. Naughty Naughty is the big one, but the second single off of it was Bang Bang.
See, there we go.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Dick balls. The word cockrock was first mentioned by an anonymous author in a New York-based editorial, like a feminist publication. It's called Rat. And it was 1970. It was used to describe male-dominated music industry and became a synonym for hard rock. And yeah, there's that aggressive male sexuality and often misogynistic lyrics.
Sure. But anyway, we've discussed two different genres here today, both incredible in their own right, one not great. I'm just going to say it right out front. But yeah, I want to thank both of you guys for being on here. It was a little bit of a last moment thing, and I appreciate you're both very busy. Mike, with you doing nothing, and John writing all the movies for Hollywood. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate that.
It was awesome.
You, the viewer, please join us every week on Wednesdays where we dive into some stuff.
The things
about
that
music.
matter.
The things that matter most about your life.
Cock rock.
Yeah, cocks and
Butt
rocks
rock.
and butts. That's what we talk about here. Join us next week for something equally as interesting here on
Real Brave Live.